So you know how to use the articles, you know how to set them up, you know all the tools, you know how to assign them to kids. So let's talk about what you can do after your students start completing articles on here. If you go to this binder tab up here, it will have it'll just kind of pop out what some of your students have been doing on there recently. You have all these different options of the ways that you can look at student data and student performance. If you click on school summary, school summary is just kind of a general overview of what's happening at the school on the school level. So at our school, these are the amount of articles that are being read. You see how things kind of go up and down throughout the year. A lot more Newsela articles happening in January than in May, but summer school we kind of picked up a little bit. When you get down here, you can see what kids are reading. So these are our registered students. These are the teachers we have, and here's the total classes. We can actually get in here and start looking at these teachers, which is cool. It's a lot of people using it. But here are here's what's kind of interesting is that you can kind of see what articles the kids are reading. So these are like the ones that are sticking out that they're favoriting that they think are good. Not a whole ton, but it is a good place to kind of see, oh wow, if a kid is willing to pick an article and say, hey, I really like that, then that's kind of a flag that, hey, this is the kind of stuff maybe kids want to read about. The next one is assignments. So these will be things that you've assigned to your kids in class. This is just kind of an overview based on the standards. So right now it's showing me all reading standards, but I can break this down to all the different ones. And as you scroll down through this, you can kind of see how student performance has gone. One thing that I think is interesting just to look at this is these are summer school numbers, and we started off low, but you can see as we got into these tools and the instruction picked up and we did things got quite a bit better throughout summer school. So, I mean, that's good. That's a good. It's good to be able to see data this way. But for each of these assignments that I assign to my kids, if I come back over to this light bulb, it'll tell me the standard that was being worked on that day. So I would always pick a standard that was going with the theme of the class and the stuff that we're learning that day. You can go a little deeper, though, if you want to expand and look at student activity. So let's look at this one. You can see how these students performed. Like everybody did really well, maybe had a student absent there, and then their responses all coming in. So, but most kids were getting 100% on this. It's really good. So I can directly say, based on this standard, I have these kids basically mastering this standard based on what was happening in our classroom. But if you go back to these, where it's much lower, we weren't doing nearly as well. And I have zeros and 25%, and it's just not as good. So it's a good way to be able to just track that data and see that kids are improving on their performance in your class. And so you want to definitely be using these tools just to check on the data. As with a lot of these things, you can download these data sets to Excel if you want to play around with the data or do something with them. So we can just open this up real quick and see what it looks like. So yeah, here's our Excel data. I'm going to close back out of this because we're not going to use it right now, but it's good to know that you have access to that. So there's that. You can break this down by standards. So it has the 8 reading standards here, and so the articles that focus on that, you can kind of drill down to those and see which ones that where students have done better and where students need more work. So like arguments and claims. Let's look at that. Oh, we don't have any for arguments and claims. Let's do central idea. All right, so looking at central idea, it looks like for the most part we did well. So that's good. And if I want to get further into that, I can click on each unit, each article and get information for that. All right, so that's how you can look at assignments. Next, let's look at classes. So these are just in general based on the standard how your students are performing in these classes. So this is just kind of an overall snapshot view, and you can expand to look at each student, or you can look at the holistic holistic data, which is also good. So yeah, this would be where you could start looking at things that you need to focus on and specific students you need to focus on. So as I look down through here and I see stuff like a 37%, I know that this is a student that I need to work with. And I see a 31%, this is a student that I need to work with. But if I'm seeing 81 and 86, I know that we're doing okay here. And 90, we're definitely doing good. So that's a way you can look at the whole class and just know, like, okay, how am I going to group these students? How am I going to put these students together to maximize the time I have with them? And finally, student progress. Now, this is kind of an interesting way to look at things. Based on the performance we're getting from students, we can kind of sort them into levels 1, 2, 3, or 4. 3 and 4 being students who are where we need them to be. 1 is students who are close, and pardon me. 2 students who are close, and 1 students who are far. So this would be a way you could start grouping if you're doing like guided reading groups or something. A really great way to look at that. You can break it up by classes. So this is the first hour, and this is going to be second hour. So second hour looking pretty good. Nobody in level 1. Nice. So yeah, here is our data per group, and you'll see these little stars are kids who are exceeding or outperforming peers in their grade. So there's a lot of really great things you can be doing with this data. In this video, I don't even have the time to show you, but if you understand how data can inform your instruction, Newsela is giving you a lot of it that's really good. So that's just how you can be using it in your class.